Recovery objectives, RPO and RTO. These are the two most heavily tested terms in the whole domain, and the exam swaps them constantly. So let us make them impossible to confuse. Two questions decide how a system must be protected, and they are not the same question. How much data can we afford to lose if this fails? And how long can we afford to be down? A trading system might tolerate almost no data loss but survive a short outage. An internal reporting tool might lose a day's data harmlessly but cannot be down for a week at month end. Answer the two questions the wrong way round and you buy the wrong protection. So here is the anchor. RPO is data. RTO is time. Hold those two words and everything else follows. The recovery point objective, RPO, is the maximum amount of data the organization can afford to lose. It is measured backward from the moment of disruption. An RPO of 1 hour means that if the system fails now, losing up to the last hour of data is acceptable, but no more. And because it caps data loss, RPO drives how often data is captured. An RPO of 24 hours is met by a nightly backup. 1 hour needs data captured at least hourly, near zero needs continuous replication. Think of RPO as a point on the timeline before the failure, the last moment you can afford to fall back to. The recovery time objective, RTO, is the maximum tolerable downtime, how long a process can be unavailable before the impact becomes unacceptable. It is measured forward from the disruption. An RTO of 2 hours means the service must be restored within 2 hours. And because it caps downtime, RTO drives how fast the recovery solution must be. A generous RTO can be met by restoring backups onto rebuilt hardware. A tight one needs a standby system or a failover site ready to take over. Think of RTO as a stretch of time after the failure, the window you have to get back. So the clean way to hold them apart, RPO is data, measured backward, and it drives backup frequency. RTO is time, measured forward, and it drives recovery speed. Two different axes, two different jobs. And there is a direct relationship between the objective and the cost of meeting it. A near-zero RPO requires continuous, real-time replication, far more costly than a nightly backup. A near-zero RTO requires a hot standby or failover capability, far more costly than restoring from backup. Tighter objectives cost more. Which is why objectives are not set as tight as possible for everything. They come from the BIA, how critical a process is determines how little data loss and downtime it can tolerate. A process worth protecting to near zero gets the expensive solution, one that can tolerate a day's loss and a day's downtime does not. Above both sits the maximum tolerable downtime, the absolute ceiling the RTO must sit within. Now the trap, and it is the whole reason this lesson exists. The exam swaps them. It describes a data loss tolerance and calls it RTO, or a downtime limit and calls it RPO. Do not match on the letters, read what the scenario is actually describing. Data backward is RPO, time forward is RTO. So carry this away. RPO is the data you can lose, measured backward, and it drives how often you back up. RTO is the downtime you can tolerate, measured forward, and it drives how fast you must recover. Fix that pairing and the questions that swap them become easy.